Welcome back, Mastering Mitzvahs, episode 170. Dylan, I've wanted to switch seats with
I
you.
don't like it.
I want to do something a little
I
different.
don't like it.
I'm always in that seat.
I don't like it.
I needed a change
Nope.
of scenery.
Nope.
The
I don't like
room
it.
looks entirely different from here.
I don't like it. I'm glad that the change of perspective has gotten the creative juices flowing. I don't like it. I want to sit back in my seat.
Why are you so stubborn?
I want my seat back. That's my good side.
We're
It's
going
what
to
I'm-
just change it up.
I saw him sit down, and I was going to say something. I was, and then I ran out of fight.
I did it purposely, actually, just to kind of, as you were playing with a little fidget spinner, driving me nuts.
Mike doesn't like fidgets, and I don't know, like, I love fidgets. I want busy hand stuff. It helps.
This is the true behind the scenes here at Explosive Entertainment. So let's get on with the real reason why we're here. We're going to talk about fun foods. Episode 170 of Mastering Mitzvahs. Fun foods are a trend. We call it fun foods, but we're going to talk today about foods that are not necessarily provided by your caterer, or maybe they're really unique, elevated things that your caterer offers, or not all caterers offer, but fun, unique items.
Yeah, I think the description of it is stuff that you're not going to find in a traditional menu for a catering company.
Yeah.
I think that the easiest way for me to describe it to anybody is think about the foods that you like to eat anyway, and then think about the delivery method that makes it fun. I think the delivery method is what is that X factor.
Yeah, sometimes it's not elevated items. Like I'll use Rice Krispie treats as the very first example. Rice Krispie treats is such a simple thing. Like there's nothing special about it. But what if they were dipped in chocolate, had sprinkles, and they were on a popsicle stick, and they were hanging from like a clothesline over a cool kiosk? All of a sudden, you're like, wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
So we're talking about the wow factor here.
Yep. So when families reach out to us, they often say things like, what can I do to stand out? What can I do to make something different? And we often talk about taking the same recycled success stories and making it your own. So now it's a matter of how can you deliver your foods in a fun, captivating, and unique way.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk in this episode food and beverage because there's a lot of elevated beverage options. We just did boba tea probably for the 10th or 11th time just a week or two ago, and it went over so well. So like boba tea is a hot trend with kids. Why not embrace it?
Yeah. So for me, I think that the easiest and quickest way to change up and make foods fun is in the display art in which they're sent out. This could be something as simple as a branded cup or a branded cocktail napkin, or as intricate as creating your own color scheme inside the drink, like using things like edible glitter or fire or dipping the glass in sugar. Things like that help elevate the food, definitely make it fun. So I think that those are pretty cost-effective ways to elevate your food station. So asking your caterer about that stuff typically wouldn't come with a huge cost.
Yeah, so let's go back a few steps. Who provides fun food? First, you have to start with your venue. Hey, we saw the mitzvah menu. We're looking for some fun other things. What else can you do? See if they get creative, or if they're like, nope, they stop hard in their tracks. These are the services that we offer, and they wipe their hands of it. If that's the case, then you bring up the question, can I bring somebody in? Can I bring in a food truck upon exit? Can I have a specialist that does latte art where they print on the froth on coffee? Can that be a fun dessert? If the caterer doesn't offer it, I know we at Explosive Entertainment offer it. We have a wide array of services that we do in-house, and then we have partners for things that we need to bring in from specialists. But your entertainment company might have it, or you might find a third party that offers these unique items.
Well, you bring up a good challenge in that if your caterer can provide it, 99 out of 100 times they're not going to allow you to bring it in.
Right.
So asking the question of what will you do and what can you do, and wherever those limitations fall, then you start thinking about what can I bring in.
Yeah, I feel like almost every episode of Mastering Mitzvahs I talk about, it comes down to the theme. And I'm going to say it again. If you have a theme for your party, and families, I always embrace theme. I talked to somebody the other day, and the theme was the kids' initials. Great, but what can we do with that? Like, if there's a theme for a party, I'll say Mardi Gras. We did a Mardi Gras themed mitzvah, and they brought in the French beignets. Like, that's cool. That's on brand. If the theme is carnival, think about all the fun cotton candies and the fun desserts. And simple things like pretzels are now on brand. So I'm a big advocate for themes. I feel like every party needs a theme.
Yeah. So We talked about the delivery method a little bit, in the opening, where you could add things like edible glitter or whipped cream or something like that. How about the actual physical display of how it's being delivered? Things like kiosks go a long way, where you can brand it out to be a concession stand for a sports themed or a ticket office for a theater theme. Um, you know, just that alone will help elevate that experience.
Sure. Human tables is another way to distribute the food in a unique, memorable way. There's two ways to do human table. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's actually either a stationary table with a giant hole cut in the middle, and there's a human in the middle interacting with your guests and handing out the items and their attire, usually a female, in a dress that kind of flows out as the tablecloth. And it's such a cool, memorable piece. Instagram worthy. People are taking pictures. So that's a stationary human table. Then imagine a disc around like a cocktail waitress, and she's walking around passing these items, whether they're drinks or appetizers, small plates. And, she's approaching you, and there's personality and style and, almost some comedy to it. Again, Instagram worthy is such a buzz term right now, and make your food Instagram worthy.
Yep. If you dive into things like, we talked about your carnival theme. I mean, having someone actually doing the dipping of the funnel cake is fun to watch.
Yep.
So the action station is a great way to deliver fun foods, whether it's dipping fried Oreos or creating the funnel cakes or spinning the cotton candy. I mean, like, there's some pretty cool cotton candy artists out there that will make like flowers and cool like candy shapes. So I think that a person like your human table can definitely elevate the actual experience.
Yeah, we've done light up cotton candy a bunch of times in the past, which is nothing more than a light up stick that the cotton candy is on. But if that is thoughtfully distributed during the black light set, the last hour of a party where everything else glows, like when a family says we have a neon themed party, why don't we embrace this and make glow in the dark neon cotton candy?
Right.
Like, that's memorable. Just giving a bag of cotton candy might not be on brand for that party, might be on brand for a carnival theme, but all of a sudden glow in the dark LED cotton candy, like, that's cool.
Sure.
Again, the camera eats before people. Like, that's the trend that you keep hearing all the time. Like, you go to a bougie restaurant and the plate comes out, and what are you doing? You're taking your phone and you're taking a picture. Imagine if that wow factor happened at your celebration. Like people are taking pictures, tagging you, like, it's memorable. It's so cool.
So, I mean, I think that my favorite part about that idea is, you're going to have cotton candy. All you did was put an LED stick on it. So now you can look at it the same way. Oh, I have a candy bar. Let's make the whole thing light up. Let's make the candy bar light up. Let's make the cups that the candy is coming into light up. Let's make the scoops light up. Maybe we make them. Maybe we add some black lights down onto the table to make the candy glow.
Yep.
That presentation factor will make a big difference in how your guests interact with that food that is otherwise just candy or just cotton candy or just a pretzel.
I think a lot of our goal in what we profess here at Xplosive Entertainment is, seamless, smooth events, but it's also in just elevating expectations and how do you just take something simple like pretzels or cotton candy and just raise the bar.
I'll tell you, I saw our friends over at Classical Caterers have pretzel umbrellas.
Mm-hmm.
They had their servers with umbrellas, and on each of the spokes of the umbrellas were soft pretzels hanging on a hook.
Yep.
And they walked in kind of like a mummer strut almost, but they were spinning the pretzels right there. Like, that's just a fun way of giving out pretzels.
That unless you're from Philadelphia, nobody has any idea what a mummer is, by the way.
Okay, it's fine. Look it up. Google it. It's us. Let it be us.
Let it be us. Philadelphia thing.
Let it be us. It's fine. Let it be us. But the same idea goes for, like, hey, that's just the delivery method of soft pretzel. How about the theater style popcorn carts that come out and distribute, popcorn on the dance floor? How about the cannoli guy that's piping cannolis on the dance floor? I mean, that's a really big wedding trend, but we're seeing stuff like that happen in real time, on the dance floor. And I love when the person is the product when it comes to this stuff. Because like the cannoli guy and the pretzel spinner people, those are just fun people having a great time giving you the one thing.
Right. So I would suggest that any families intrigued in what we're talking about now, start thinking about their party in 3 sessions, beginning, middle, and end. And is there a wow factor food-wise in the beginning? Is it an ice luge? Is it some cool appetizer? Is it a tomahawk carving station? Like what? Or go back to the boba tea for the kids. Dylan, I sent you a picture of a party in December that we did that had a Shirley Temple fountain, but they had put dry ice in it, and the Shirley Temple was like bubbling up. It looked like this giant science experiment in this huge, like 3-foot tall beaker. It was awesome. And the kids just went over and, opened the spout and made their own Shirley Temples. There's nothing. What's the Shirley Temple? It's Sprite and grenadine, but the way that they displayed it, it looked like $1 million drink. So beginning, middle of the party. Is there some fun way to deliver the entrees? I mean, most people believe entrees are either plated or buffet. Like it's either A or B. But how can you elevate those experiences to make them more memorable? And then I think the end of the night is actually the easiest. Dessert, there's often a wow factor to dessert. Viennese are always expected to be really big and impressive. But so there's like, I'm going to say there's 3.5 times, because there's dessert and then there's exit, which is sort of an extension to dessert. Sometimes exit food is like the greasy sandwiches that sober you up as you're leaving, or bagels as you're leaving, or sometimes it's just more desserts. But think of your night in 3 or 3.5 different time slots, and how do you elevate something unique during each of those moments?
Yeah. So for me, I remember when we were picking caterers for my brother's wedding, it was all about the action stations. And for dessert, they had a big flambe, right? I know a lot of great caterers in this area bring the dessert right out to the dance floor. The fact is that it's something that catches someone's eye and is simply delivering that dessert product that they otherwise would have just put on the table anyway.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, because I think that when you start adding things like additional stations, like a kiosk, you can get really, really involved pretty fast. So kiosks, you can brand them out to be like your 7-Eleven, your Wawa, your Dunkin' Donuts, your Starbucks, and they can get bigger, badder, and more involved as you see fit.
Yep.
But let's let them in on a little secret. If you want a Starbucks stand, it doesn't mean you have to serve Starbucks coffee. What you need is Starbucks cups.
Yep.
Right? If you want a Wawa stand, it doesn't mean you have to have Wawa hoagies. You can just have the chips. So when it comes down to the cost of this stuff, and you start thinking about what is the factor that I need to play in this, understand that you don't need the actual item to pull off the illusion and or the gimmick.
Yeah, and take it one step further and brand it for the guest of honor. So if it's Samantha's bat mitzvah, it's Sammy Bucks. It's not Starbucks, it's Sammy Bucks. Use a knockoff of the logo, but includes Sammy's initials or whatnot. And then you really don't even, copyright infringement in this one-off type thing is not really a problem. We can't be doing this, selling it out to the public, under Starbucks name. But if it's, Sammy's bat mitzvah and it's Sammy Bucks, and nobody's coming after you for royalties on that kind of thing.
So then you also can go to that same kiosk idea. You can go even further and start bringing in the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And these trucks can be as impressive as venues can be in some cases. I mean, there are brick oven trailers that can come through at the end of your celebration. There are, some really involved, hey, I missed a softie last weekend. I had a candy cart come through. But there's some really cool ways to do it.
I'm going to caution the listeners, though, and say I don't love food trucks because they're often slow. The only time I like food trucks is, 2 times, is either it's some sort of outdoor venue and you're embracing the fact that you're in an outdoor space and you could have multiple food trucks. I could think of a barn mitzvah that we did where we were at a barn, we were in a field, and there was 5 different food trucks. That added to the experience. The other opportunity is a food truck as a to-go item, because you're not trying to serve 150 people all at once. People are dwindling as they leave and grabbing something to go. Food trucks are good like that. Food carts indoors, we also try not to encourage people to leave the space, but food carts, think about the bat mitzvah we had where there was a candy cart on a bike.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah, ice cream cooler that was on a bike.
Yes.
So we branded the cart itself with the kids' signage, and it was for twins. And one kid pedaled the bike while the other kid was at the behind the cart handing out ice cream novelties like the
Yes.
chocolate eclairs and stuff like that. Like that was a cool way of just giving out ice cream, which otherwise would have just served out of a cooler.
Absolutely. And at this point, the type of ice cream doesn't even matter. I mean, it could be a wrapped up good humor. Like nobody's going to shame on you because you handed out a simple ice cream sandwich. It's the delivery, as you have said multiple times. Like that's what makes that impressive and Instagram worthy, and people taking pictures. Like that's the memory. And think about being that 13-year-old. Like how cool is it that I got to pedal my bike in while my brother handed out ice cream sandwiches? Like nobody cares if what brand it is. Like and that goes back to like what we were talking about with the Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or Wawa. Like you could give out bags of potato chips, ready Frito-Lay's, potato chips, Doritos. But if it's in a Wawa kiosk, people are going nuts that you have Wawa at your party. But it's Costco pre-bagged Frito-Lay's.
So you brought up a point that is really, really important to hear. And that is the more involved, the more customized, the more intense these stations or items become, the slower it often is in terms of getting it out to your guests.
Yep.
So now you need to ask those professionals, hi, I have 150 guests and this is the product that I want. And you're only there for this much time. Let's say it's a coffee station, a latte art you brought up earlier. I love it. But the whole process from start to finish is take a picture of you, the guest, pick your drink, upload that picture to the frother makes the latte, and now it gets out. And I have to do that 150 times maybe.
Right.
So asking the professional, hey, you're going to be there for just the dessert hour. I have 150 guests. Do I have enough time to service all these guests? If the answer is yes, great. If the answer is no, I think the question is, well, what would I need to do to make sure I was able to serve that many?
Sure.
Or you'd be okay with the fact that not everyone's going to get served. Maybe it's adding an additional barista. Maybe it's doubling the attendants that are there. Or maybe it's just simply having pre-made lattes as well as the latte art ready to go. The point is that your professionals will know the answers, or at least if they're worth their salt, will know their answers to the questions of speed.
Yeah. The last time that we did a Starbucks station, it was Starbucks and fresh baked cookies, but we limited them to 2 or 3 flavors. They were on a menu, like the menu board right behind, and it was like choose flavor A, B, or C. And we literally had pre-poured portions of them. And you could walk over and like watch the barista pouring it, but like they might have been handing you one that was already pre-poured just to pump out the speed. 5, 6 guests come over at the same time and ask for something. It's just that fast.
Yeah.
Dylan, I think we would miss some key topics here if we didn't talk about a couple of things that we showed at our showcase, our Super Bowl showcase. I think one of the most talked about items was our canning station. Canning station, any beverage, whether it's a boba tea or a Shirley Temple, can be put into a sealed, what looks like a soda can, but clear, and or branded for your event. And I mean, that's a wow factor. And it could go one step further because we could do cakes and desserts and like candy in the canning station. But I think like the buzzwords of this podcast here is the delivery method. Giving jelly beans in a little plastic bag, whatever. Giving jelly beans in a branded sealed can that you pop open like a soda can, you're like, wow, I've never seen that before. These are all very doable things if you find the vendors that have the right offerings.
Yeah. So the idea is that the can itself is sealed on site. So if it's a candy bar, you go and you fill up your clear jar with all of the candy that you want, your daughter wants.
Yep.
And Haven goes up to the end canner person. They put the label on the thing that has, Mia's bat mitzvah on it. And then they seal the can, locked and loaded right there, where the only way to open it is to literally use the pop tab. And that's cool. But it's the candy mix that Haven picked out. So now the whole thing became an experience.
Yes.
So canning, and it could be drinks like, a lemonade stand where you could add different flavors of lemonade. It could be boba, it could be coffee, it could be cake, it could be candy. The point is that the end result is a sealed can that's pressed right there.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like we could give examples for days, but we're going to wrap this up. And again, the whole idea is come up with something that's unique, figure out when the right time in your celebration is to offer these unique, memorable experiences. Some of the most fun mitzvahs I've ever been part of had really simplistic food, but it was so on brand. A WWE themed party. The guests ate off of paper plates, and you're like, oh, tacky. I would never. But it was themed to be a concession stand. So like you went over to a concession stand, you got a cheesesteak, or you got chicken fingers and fries. As adults, this was your entree. You're like, no way. But it was served so authentically as if you were at a stadium. You got that paper boat with the cheese drizzled all over. And like, who doesn't love that? Like, that's so awesome. You don't need Chateaubriand at every single party that you're attending. Like, how many times are you going to eat salmon? Like, putting it all together, making the theme, making the brand, making it match the vision, making it memorable. I think that's the best takeaways that we could really share.
Well, for me, I think that this episode goes a long way because when a lot of families reach out to us for the very first time, they say people remember two things. They remember if they had a good time dancing and if they enjoyed the food.
Yep.
And here's a way to help them enjoy the food.
Yeah. So we know that there's a challenge involved in this, finding open-minded caterers that either will do this themselves or will allow outside vendors to come in. Don't ever assume that outside vendors can come in. A lot of places for one reason or another might restrict that. There's often ways to kind of bend the rules, but ask nicely. Don't ever just expect these things to happen because that's when things could backfire. And start the process early. Like these are not last minute decisions by any means.
Yeah, it's got to be done by a professional because when you're handling with food, it needs to be done right to avoid people getting sick or mishandling or something like that. So this is a very serious part of the topic.
Yeah.
Episode 170 though.
We did it. Another episode. Dylan, last time we did this, we were wearing shorts and it was warm out and we were talking about the summer and suntans and back to the winter, it feels like.
No, welcome to the Northeast, I guess. That's Mike. I'm Dylan. All things explosive. XE Events. XEvents.com. That was Mastering Mitzvahs, episode 170. We'll check you guys real soon.
See ya.